Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my Critical Issues podcast here for Dr. Adams' class, CPE 5619. And I just wanted to start out by welcoming you and, thanking you for really your attention during this short little coverage on what I feel to be a critical need in CTE, and that being the shortage of apprenticeship opportunities across the board in America. I know that sounds pretty broad, but I think that each and every one of us could appreciate the idea of securing our students post-secondary school in careers that match up to our curriculums that we teach respectively. So that's the need that I uncovered. What forms of research did I use? I used three forms of research. One was teacher-based in the way of interviews. There was one individual, Mr. Glauber, Daniel Glauber, who teaches game art and sci-viz here at the high school, and he was critical in helping me along with this project. Also, a couple of students, one, a student of mine who's been in several of my classes, Austin Lovett, and then I had a couple of websites. One was this Swiss Apprenticeships, a model for Colorado link that I'll get into a little bit later, as well as this Step Up America website that pretty much specifically addresses the issue in America with respect to apprenticeship programs. How did all three of these sources kind of come together on any one point? I think if there was one common denominator across the board, it was that we need somehow, some way to secure students' engagement and a level of commitment to ensure that they make it all the way through high school towards not only graduation, but something post-secondary that will lead them to promise. And when I say promise, I mean in some occupational program that at a minimum, will ensure that they're on the path to prosperity. And by that, I mean, don't settle for a high school degree and then just start to wing it post-high school. It's fine not to have a postgraduate study plan in place, but we need to ensure that the students are meeting up with occupational goals in high school, not post-secondary. And I think that that's the driving force here, the fact that we need to keep students engaged, not only for their better good, but for the better good of our communities as well. What are some of the attributing factors to this issue? I think it's one, a lack of effort in promoting a program at the secondary school level between, would-be employers and schools. This goes back to the stigma on how we view vocational studies. And we certainly are compounding that stigma in many people's minds when we say the student, as early as their freshman year, is going to be exposed to the job environment at the same time they're exposed to their scholastic requirements in high school. Students in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, where it's very prevalent, this type of program, go to school maybe 2 to 3 days a week, and the balance of the days a week they are in the shop learning a machine tool, much like what you see here, or in engineering learning a CAD system, or in telecommunications maybe learning a circuit board wiring. So this goes on overseas. It ensures that there's going to be employment opportunities for these students post high school, and I think that we need to do our best to get rid of the stigma that there's somehow something negative about that. Well, and then beyond that, how are we addressing this issue today? Well, I know personally I try to bring in a lot of presenters, and I try to lean on my past industry connections and getting students out to the workplace, being able to expose them to real workplace environment, whether it be manufacturing or engineering, both of which we represent here in my curriculum. And then, bringing in more industry-specific machine tools. I have a 3D printer that you see right behind me, and I also have a machine tool, 3-axis CNC machine tool that kind of mirrors what you see here in this graphic on this website, in that it's a machine controller-based 3-axis CNC mill. Mine's more of an office mill, so it's not quite to the scale, but it'll teach you the same fundamental skills that this machine will offer you in the workplace. And by putting that level of commitment out there, the employer sees that, and they're going to be more apt to do business with you. So again, my personal thoughts are that we need to do more to make ourselves available to the employers as potential partners in this endeavor. And I've seen it firsthand in Germany once upon a time when I was actually representing a company that had just purchased a machine tool through a company called Schute in Cologne, Germany. And they actually had a relationship with a high school locally where I saw firsthand students that came by bus in from high school for an afternoon worth of work and training on site in the workplace with this Schute company. And they were basically learning how to machine build these 4-axis machining centers for their prospective employer. And in fact, this was a way in which Schute backfilled their workforce by this relationship. I believe that this issue has to be better known because I don't think that enough local leaders here in any rate in Wilmington are aware of it. I think that it's not industry specific. Surely there are going to be, with any given geographic, more CTE curriculums that are in play than others. Here locally, it wouldn't even leverage my background so much as it might nursing or civil architectural engineering, because we have a lot of development going on right now, both commercial and residential, and a lot of need for healthcare employees because of our aging population here in Wilmington, coupled with that of the retirees that are flocking here. There's been a lot of development. So, depending on your part of the state and your part of the country, for that matter, there's going to be different points of emphasis on, our programs that we offer in CTE. But this is an across-the-board issue as I see it, not just any one curriculum. And some of the potential steps that I think that we can take on in order to address this issue: hire more CTE instructors with industry experience. Certainly that can help to bring into the fold those with the contacts necessary to foster relationships. And then we need to try to get our local administrators and government officials representing education and government here in your local community to the table and seeing how this can be beneficial. Because if you can get administrators with government officials willing to make the commitment to employee-based business partners, we could possibly be onto something here. And to my fellow classmates, I ask of you one question, and that is, outside of the technical realm, of which we're all partial to what we teach and what we all use as leverage to try to excite our student base, and taking our courses, what do you think would be potential ways in which we could glean students to these apprenticeship programs? What are additional ways in which we could lure them in? And with that, I'll conclude my podcast, and thank you very much for your attention.